Sup guys, it's your boy TDMWise here, and today we have another Total Drama video. This one was actually recommended by you guys. Check out this person's channel, probably good. But anyways, enough of that. If you read the comment, you know that this is, what if Ezekiel switched teams with Katie instead of Izzy? So yeah, let's just jump into this. Episode 2. Obviously, the Screaming Gophers will still win. Yes, it is true that Izzy was the reason that they opened up the crates, but I'm sure someone like Heather could figure out that, using a rope would help. I think they're going to vote out Katie. The reason why is because Katie and Sadie were part of the reason that they lost the challenge, because, they were peeing in poison ivy, and that's not helping. And the reason I think they're going to vote out Katie instead of Sadie, because last time it was between those two, they voted out Katie, and it doesn't really matter. They have the same brain. Honestly, does not matter. Episode 3, the sleeping challenge. 3 key things happen here. Number 1, Heather forms her alliance with Beth and Lindsay, but then she adds Ezekiel into the team, because he is stupid and he'll do whatever people say. 2, Heather still plays the trick on Eva she steals her headphones. And 3, since Gwen and Duncan are still in this, Gwen's still going to win the challenge. Ezekiel and Izzy's not switching. It doesn't matter. The Gophers still win the challenge. So yeah, those are the main 3 things that happened in this episode. And they're still going to vote off Eva because of what she did and her little tantrum she had. Episode 4, the dodgeball challenge. This one had one of the hardest eliminations. The Killer Bass are still going to win because they still have Harold. Noah's still not going to play the dodgeball game. Lindsay's still going to go out with Tyler. And yeah, Killer Bass wins for the first time. Now, it came down to 2 people here, Noah and Ezekiel. Why Ezekiel, you might ask? Because I feel like Ezekiel's going to say, I don't know why we lost. We had more boys on our team than girls. And then Lashana's going to be like, what's that supposed to mean? And then Ezekiel's going to do his weird, sexist joke. So I'm going to bring it down. These are people voting for Noah, and these are people voting for Ezekiel. So Lashana, Gwen, both going to vote for Ezekiel. Trent's going to go with Gwen, because, Trent and Gwen, they're starting to form a relationship. They're starting to bond. Heather, Lindsay, and Beth are going to vote out Noah. Obviously, Ezekiel and Noah are going to vote for each other, since, they realize that they're at risk. And Heather will probably, force them. Heather's also going to force Lindsay to vote for Noah, and she doesn't really have a say in it since she, broke the alliance rules. Owen's going to vote for Ezekiel because Owen and Noah, in, the first couple episodes of Island, they have a minor relationship. There was that time Owen saved Noah's life when he was drowning. There's the time that Noah made a sarcastic quote to Owen. So they have, a little bit of a relationship. So Owen's going to vote for Ezekiel. I feel like Justin will vote for Noah because, Justin, he's not a girl. He doesn't really care. Now, the hardest part is it came down to Cody. Would Cody vote for Ezekiel because of Gwen? Because, how much does Cody like Gwen at this point? And there was one big factor that leaned towards this elimination, and that is the fact that Noah kissed Cody's ear back in episode 3, causing Noah to have one more vote than Ezekiel. Ezekiel gets to live for another day, but Heather and him are going to have a long talk. And we move on to episode 5, the talent show episode. Here's what's going to happen. I still think it's going to come down to Harold, and Harold's just going to win it for the Killer Bass. And the Screaming Gophers. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of votes going to a lot of different people. So we're actually going to have to put the Killer Bass all the way up here because we need 4 spaces. We need 1 for Ezekiel, 1 for Trent, 1 for Justin, and 1 for Heather. In the original, Justin got eliminated, which was stupid because it was 5 against 5. 5 votes for Heather, 5 votes for Justin. That would have been a tie. But I believe Cody voted for Trent. So that's 1 vote for Trent. And Heather and her 3 other minions are going to vote out Justin. That's 4 votes for Justin. And this is where Lashana, Trent, Owen, and Gwen come in. And I believe Lashana is going to convince Owen to vote Ezekiel because of what Ezekiel did, of what Ezekiel said back in episode 4. She's still going to be mad about that. She's going to tell Gwen, look, girl, I know Heather read your diary, but I need to finish business with Ezekiel. And Gwen's going to understand, but it's going to be 3 votes against Heather, 2 votes against Ezekiel, 4 votes against Justin, and 1 vote against Trent. Meaning, Justin will go home. I don't know why Heather targets Justin in this episode, but we had to go off of what happens. She honestly should have targeted Trent. If Cody's voting for Trent, that she would have had more people on her side. But nevertheless, Heather still votes out Justin. We move on to episode 6. Owen's still going to tell his bear story. Lashana's still going to be afraid of bears, all that junk. But now that Izzy's on the killer bass, Izzy's going to scare them, causing the bear to attract, the actual bear to attract, causing them to stay up all night and lose the challenge. And also, Sadie's not going to leave them behind because Katie's not there to show the blueberries. So the killer bass actually lose this challenge instead of winning. And they're going to vote off Izzy. She disguised herself as a bear. So yeah, bye-bye Izzy. Episode 7, the island. No, not the phobia. The island of the phobia. I think it's still going to be the same. I think it's going to come down to Courtney. Courtney loses. Gophers win. I feel like Heather's going to force Ezekiel not to say his actual fear, because I feel like Ezekiel's fear would be either A, Heather, or B, woman. Kind of, if you know what I mean. Just, keep that in mind for a future episode. Anyways, I think Duncan's going to try to keep Courtney safe. And honestly, normally Tyler would go home. But this is, a nitpick I have with this season. And this is, the one exception I'm having to, the story of the show. I know I'm supposed to go by the rules, but for this instance, I don't really care. You can yell at me in the comments. Why did they vote out Tyler if Tyler did his challenge? Tyler did his challenge. So I think they're either Duncan's going to say to vote out Bridget, but Jeff's not going to want that to happen. So Jeff throws out a random name. He's like, who's annoying? Sadie. She keeps whining about Katie being gone. So they're going to vote out Katie. I feel like everybody would just vote out Katie. I feel like the news would go around on their team that they're voting out Katie. Alright, now we have the episode where they go to the island. This is also the episode where Beth grabs the statue. But the thing is, even though Izzy isn't here to start the fire, they still can start the fire. Whoever wins the fire challenge doesn't really matter, because Harold's still going to throw their paddles in the fire, and Izzy isn't going to tell them to push the cart, which means that the killer bass lose, and they're going to vote out Harold for burning the fire. Not burning the fire, for burning, the paddles. Episode 9, the deer hunting episode. Again, I think killer bass are going to win. I think Heather, Beth, and I feel like Heather and Beth are going to have an argument. Ezekiel's just going to I feel like Ezekiel would lean more towards Beth's side in this argument, but he's still going to stay strong. And I feel like now that Tyler's here for longer, Lindsay's going to be more clingy to Tyler. So Heather is losing her army shortly and surely. But Cody still gets mauled by a bear, so Cody still goes home. Episode 10, the cooking challenge. Again, I feel like I don't know if Beth's curse is real, but I feel like it does have some effect, because the moment she gets the statue, they start losing a lot. If it's just a coincidence, you can yell at me. But I still feel like they're going to lose, because Owen's going to eat the ribs, and yeah. Now, this was another tricky one, because we have a lot of votes for a lot of different people again. So, here's the people that I feel like are going to get votes. I feel like Heather wants Beth to go home because of the idol thing. But I feel like Ezekiel's gonna pop up to everybody the fact that Owen ate the ribs. So I feel like Ezekiel, behind Heather's back, is gonna tell Beth and Lindsay to vote out Owen. Because I feel like Heather's starting to intimidate Ezekiel a little too much. Because, she yelled at him for, being sexist and stuff. And then she keeps, telling him these stuff, how what he's thinking is wrong. So, yeah. And also with the phobia challenge, he didn't let Ezekiel speak his truth. So I feel like they're all going to vote out Owen to try to save Beth. So that's 3 votes against Owen. And I feel like Gwen and Trent are going to vote out Heather. And I feel like to save Owen, Lashana's going to hear about this. To save Owen, Lashana's going to tell Owen to vote out Ezekiel to stop this. She's going to try to warn Gwen, but it ain't going to work out. So there's going to be 2 votes for Ezekiel from Lashana and Owen. 2 votes for Heather from Trent and Gwen, and 3 votes for Owen from Lindsay, Beth, and Ezekiel. And 1 vote for Beth from Heather. That means Owen's going home. If that does not make sense, I am sorry. The point is, 3 people vote for Owen, 1 person votes for Beth, 2 people vote for Heather, 2 people vote for Ezekiel. It's confusing, but still. We move on. Gotta bring the killer bass back. We move on to episode 11. One thing to note before we move on to episode 11 is that Heather still gets locked in the fridge, not by Lindsay, but by Ezekiel. That's really important. Anyways, episode 11, the challenge, there's a lot of mini parts to it. So here are the teams for the rock climbing part. Still same teams, and Gwen still wins since there's no real big difference. Same teams for the next one. Yeah, it's basically all the same. Bridget and Jeff still win because Lindsay sucks at cooking. But the next one, instead of Lashana and Owen, it's going to be Lashana and Beth and Courtney and Tyler instead of Courtney and Sadie. And I feel like Tyler, realizing that he's the odd man out on his team, is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to let other people take charge. So Courtney's actually going to be the one that's throwing the apples. And I feel like compared to Courtney and Lashana, Courtney would probably be the one to win. I feel like she's she would get angry and flustered, but still. And that's the saying, who's throwing here? It might be Beth, and Beth would actually suck at that. So then it comes down to the jellyfish challenge, and DJ still loses his bunny, by the way. Comes down to the jellyfish challenge, and it's going to be Heather and Ezekiel. And Ezekiel's going to look at how Heather treated him. He's going to realize that it's better to be with Lashana, Gwen, and Trent and them than be with Heather. Rather be with Heather. So he's going to drop Heather on purpose, and everybody's going to go wild and respect him for it, because they knew he did it on purpose. Heather knows he did it on purpose. So yeah, Heather's heading out. She goes to the infirmary. Courtney still sees Duncan getting the rabbit, but this also means that the killer bass won the challenge, because they won the food challenge, they won the apple challenge, and they won this challenge. So that means the Screaming Gophers lost because of Ezekiel. And Heather was going to use this as a way to bite Ezekiel in the butt, but she realized it's better to have Beth be eliminated than have Ezekiel, because Beth was the first. Beth was also more closer to everybody else than Ezekiel. Ezekiel's still hated by people like Lashana. So she's going to tell Lindsay to vote for Beth. So here's what's happening. We got Heather and we got Beth. I feel like Ezekiel talking to Lashana, trying to ask for an apology, is going to be please, can I join you guys? And they're going to be fine. Fine, but there's one thing you had to do. We'll figure it out. And Heather, knowing that she's going to get the majority of the votes, has to be sneaky. She's going to tell Lindsay, look, you better vote Beth with me, or else I will make sure the killer bats get rid of Tyler. And then Heather's gonna talk to Trent, and he's gonna be like, it's such a shame I'm going home. Lindsay will never be happy. And Trent's gonna be like, why? Because Tyler's gonna go home. I was gonna protect Tyler from his team. Such a shame. And then Trent's gonna think about the time in Boney Island when Lindsay tried to save him from the sand pit, and he's gonna feel bad for Lindsay. So he and Gwen are gonna decide to vote off Beth with Lindsay and Heather. But this is where they're gonna use Ezekiel as their bait. Sorry, Gwen and Trent are gonna vote off Heather. This is where they're gonna use Ezekiel to see how trustworthy he is. He's gonna say, all right, Ezekiel, if you're really with us, then you'll vote off Beth. Lashana, Trent and Gwen are gonna vote off Heather, and me and you are gonna vote off Beth. If Heather survives, that means you voted for the right person. If Heather doesn't, that means you're our enemy. And Ezekiel isn't gonna know what to do. He's gonna feel bad, but he's also gonna realize the fact that Lindsay's also voting for Beth. So he's gonna vote for Beth, causing Beth to go home. Episode 12, this one's pretty easy. That is because it's still gonna come down to Jeff and Gwen for the final episode. Duncan and Courtney are still gonna have their thing going on. Honestly, they're a cute couple. I ship it. It's pretty good. But it's pretty obvious who they're gonna vote off, and it's gonna be Tyler. But this is gonna get Lindsay very mad at Heather, because Heather said, hey, I'll make sure Tyler goes home if you don't vote with Beth. So she listened to Heather, but Tyler still got eliminated. So Lindsay is very mad at Heather. So she's gonna try and joining Ezekiel's side on this argument. And we move on to episode 13, the Extreme Sports Challenge. First part of the thing is going to stay the same, skydiving with DJ and Trent. But there is one notable thing. Now that Owen isn't here, they can win, Now that Owen isn't here, they have the opportunity to win. So the killer, I feel like they're gonna win because without Owen, they were still really close to Trent. So I feel like they could line it up the same with DJ. So now that's a tie. And in the next challenge, Lashana beats Jeff. So that's 2 for the Screaming Gophers and 1 for the Killer Bass. And the final challenge is still gonna be Duncan and Lindsay. And I feel like Heather and Bridget. I just chose randomly between the two. It doesn't really matter. But Heather's top is still going to cut off. Because she's going to try to cut the rope. And then her top goes off. The thing is, because it was Harold, he's going to have a bigger reaction than these two. But still, they're going to freak out a little. And also, one thing to notice, before this happened, I was timing this. And Lindsay got done this really fast and faster than Harold did, and Harold was doing the best that he can. So I feel like Screaming Gophers are winning this one. So I think they're gonna vote off Bridget. I think Duncan's gonna be like, listen, Jeff, you owe me for getting DJ's money. Now we're gonna vote Bridget, and you're gonna be happy about it. And even if he doesn't, Duncan's going to tell Courtney, so it doesn't really matter. Oops. I don't know what Jeff would do in this scenario. But yeah, we're going to skip episode 15, because it's not an elimination. But if these were the teams, I'm telling you, feel like Killer Bass is going to win. I know they don't have Owen, but they don't have Bridget either. And Bridget helped a lot of the people for her breathing technique stuff. So yeah, now we have to bring back Izzy and Eva. And we move on to episode 15. I feel like Lashana's still gonna win this. Because there's no way Ezekiel is just no. Or Courtney. Courtney's too much of a snappy pants. Even with Duncan, she wouldn't be able to beat this. So, here's what I think is going to happen. It's going to come down to Heather and Eva, and I definitely know for a fact that, like, Duncan votes Heather, DJ votes Eva, DJ's going to vote Eva, Trent's going to vote Eva, Courtney's probably... Well, actually, no, Duncan's going to vote Eva, that's my bad. Because in the original, Duncan votes Heather because he thinks it's behind Courtney getting eliminated since Courtney doesn't get eliminated. DJ's going to vote Eva. I think Jeff's going to vote Eva. And I feel like they're going to vote out Heather, but it might be a tie. But still, I think it's going to come down to Izzy. Because if you remember in the original, Izzy helps Heather kiss Trent. So I think Izzy's going to vote for Eva on this one, causing her to go home. Because Lindsay, I feel like Heather could easily manipulate Lindsay into joining an alliance. Unless you believe Izzy isn't crazy and she's planning all this. Go watch that one Izzy Isn't Crazy Fury. It's so good. I watched it like 3 times. Just saying. Also, go watch Vice Notch. If you don't know who that is, look it up. He's a pretty good YouTuber. He's actually the reason I did my first What If video. Alright, we're getting off topic. Episode 16. This one, it's the treasure chest one, and I believe Heather's still going to win this one somehow. She somehow finds immunity. It's like the dumbest thing. But here's what's going to happen. She's going to have Izzy be like a scout, because in the original, Izzy did help Heather. You can go check it out, because she's secretly a mastermind. Again, watch the Izzy Isn't Crazy video, but enough of that. So yeah, Izzy's going to keep scout, but since it's only Izzy and she doesn't have Lindsay's help, there's going to be one person that sees the Trent thing. Ezekiel. Ezekiel's going to walk by. He's going to see Heather. He's going to see him kiss. He's going to see it. He's going to know it's a trick. Because Ezekiel just knows, it's like something obvious that Heather would do. He's going to try to warn Gwen, but he's not going to have enough evidence. Gwen's not going to vote for Trent, but she ain't stopping Lashana. She's going to still tell Lashana. So, it's going to come down to Trent and Izzy. Izzy's like Heather's like little minion. So Gwen's going to vote for Izzy. But Lashana's going to vote for Trent. Lindsay's probably going to vote for Trent. Courtney's going to vote for Trent. But Ezekiel has one last-ditch effort to make sure Heather does not win this. He's going to warn Duncan, because he's going to hear that Duncan heard about this. He's like, yo, Duncan, it's a trick. It's a scam. Duncan's kind of going to believe him, because why would Ezekiel, lie to him? So Jeff and DJ are going to vote off Izzy. But Courtney's going to kind of force Duncan. So he's outnumbered, because he's going to be like, you better not do this to me. To prove your loyalty, vote with Trent with me. So yeah, Trent still goes home. It's real stupid, just to keep Heather in the game. One of the worst things Heather does. Episode 17. This is the hide and go seek episode. You know that one, the one where Bridget gets eliminated off originally. Yeah, I think Heather's still gonna find DJ. I don't know how long it will take her to get caught. I think she'll still get caught because Chef was in the fridge, So she'll still get caught, but longer. The alliance thing, it doesn't really need to happen. Duncan and DJ and Jeff, they're already a group, and there's no other boys besides Ezekiel. But they're not gonna get Ezekiel on their team. He's a loser, right? Yeah, he's such a loser. Look at him. And yeah, Heather's gonna win. But this is where it changes, because Lashana wins too. But the elimination here changes. Because it's going to come down, to basically Izzy. I don't think Heather can blame anyone else. I think Heather and Izzy, they're going to vote off Ezekiel. There's nothing else they can do. Heather can try to tell Duncan that they're lying. Duncan will probably tell DJ to vote off Ezekiel just in case. But yeah, everybody else is going to go vote off Izzy. And Izzy's going to be eliminated. Such a shame for Izzy. She and Owen don't get together. in this version of the story. In fact, Owen doesn't even Owen was supposed to be the winner. You see what small things can do? Anyways, we move on to episode 18. Okay, so we have the bike challenge. This one actually is going to go a lot differently. I'm going to put the people that we 100% know are going to get out the first round. We know DJ gets out. We know Gwen gets out. Those two are 100% confirmed. And I think Lashana and Ezekiel, I think those two are going to go on the Izzy and Lashana ride. Ezekiel's going to be like, yo, Lashana, come check out my new whip. So those two are going to ride together. So they're going to be out of the challenge. And I feel like now Heather can't build a proper boat without Lindsay stealing the manual that she needs from Chef's motorbike. So Heather can't build anything. And I feel now that Bridget isn't eliminated and Jeff doesn't have to spend time painting, he actually is going to be able to add bolts and make it to the end. DJ's going to make it to the end for him. I feel like Courtney could not be able to make something good. So it all comes down to these three. I think even if Lindsay gets out, I think she's going to get farther than Duncan and Jeff. So Lindsay's safe. And I feel like Duncan's going to be able to build a better bike than Jeff. So I feel like Jeff is going to be eliminated because he was last, technically. Because if Lindsay's stupid rule about not crossing the finish line or whatever the hell it was, then Jeff has to go home too. Next episode, I don't think Lindsay, Courtney, or Ezekiel will be easier to scare than DJ. Bye-bye, DJ. Next episode, this is the hunting episode. And this is also the episode where Duncan realizes from the past 2 episodes, he's lost both of his friends and it was out of his control. So he realizes, because since it's just him and Courtney, he needs to make an alliance. And who is desperate right now? Heather. So Duncan makes an alliance with Heather, because as he does in the original version, with this is the hunting episode. It doesn't matter who wins this episode, because in the actual episode, Gwen won, but she still was at the bottom too. So she only wins the feast, so it doesn't matter who wins. I think it's gonna come down to this. I think it's going to be Lindsay that goes home. Because Lindsay was part of Heather's army at once. And I think Duncan's upset that Lindsay was the reason that Jeff went home. Because, she was also there. She also won the challenge. So I think Duncan wants Lindsay to go home. And I think since Courtney and Lashana, they obviously have a secret relationship going on in the background. Because Courtney told Lashana about Duncan's finding the bunny. So I think Lashana and them and Heather, they're all going to vote out Lindsay. It doesn't really matter who the rest of them vote out. And Lindsay's going home. Episode 21, these are the teams. I think it's still going to be Duncan and Lashana. That's for certain. I think Chris is going to put Courtney and Gwen together. And Heather and Ezekiel. And who do I think is going to win? I think the first challenge, the food eating challenge, out of all these people, I think the people that would eat the best is Duncan and Lashana. Because Gwen didn't do good in the original. Heather didn't do good in the original because she had Owen. Ezekiel ain't going to be able to eat that much. And Courtney ain't going to be... Well, Courtney might, because she did good in the fast food challenge. But I feel like she would do... I feel like Lashana would do better than her. And the Remembering the Order challenge, I feel like that one has to go to Duncan and Lashana. Yes, Courtney is very perceptive. She remembers things a lot. But, she's not going to remember the Katie and Sadie thing. But they did, so it's, proven that they can do better than most of the people, Lashana and Duncan. So Lashana and Duncan win the challenge, since they already have 2 wins. I don't know what they're going to do about the cursed statue, though. That's just... there, I guess. But yeah, here's who I think they're going to vote out. I think Courtney wants Gwen to get eliminated because she didn't like how Duncan and Gwen were acting during the horror challenge. And I think with these 3 against these 3, It just leads down to Duncan forcing Ezekiel to vote off Gwen, or he'll beat the living snot out of him. Episode 22, this is Plala de Losers, and Lashana goes home. It's stupid, it sucks, because it started with Kitty and Sadie. Yes, Courtney was the one to go after that, but still, I mean, if a parrot said it, Chris would probably count anything else. Lashana's had to get out of here. Episode 23, the island episode. This one, there's not going to be a winner, so it's going to come down to voting. And Ezekiel thinks he's screwed, but then he's going to talk to Heather. He's going to be like, yo, Heather, I know we don't have the best relationship, but think about it. If you vote me off, you're going against a couple. You really want to do that? And Heather realizes this. She is going up against a couple, so she has to vote with Ezekiel against Duncan. It's going to lead to a tie, and Chris is going to say, well, for a tie, we're just not going to have an elimination today. So we skip that episode. And Duncan and Courtney are going to be very mad at Heather, especially since the fact that the teams are going to be Courtney and Heather against Ezekiel and Duncan. And I think out of these two, Courtney and Heather will probably be perceptive. Duncan lost because Heather manipulated him into, sleeping with him. I'm pretty sure Courtney could do the exact same thing. So they lose. I feel like Heather would be able to bring out the evil in Courtney. She wouldn't want to admit it, but it's true. And out of the two, I think Chef's going to choose Duncan. Chef chose Duncan last time, and it's going to get Courtney enraged. So enraged that Ezekiel's going to use this to his advantage in the next episode. I feel like this would break Courtney all out. She realizes that she has to win this money for Duncan, so she's going to try her hardest in this challenge. She's going to get every single bottle. She's going to do every single dare just for Duncan, just so he can win the challenge. And Ezekiel's going to be like, yo, Courtney, why don't we, share each other and go against Heather? Because she's been mean to both of us. And then Heather's going to be like, what? Come on! And it's going to come down to the razor. Heather gets her hair shaved off. And Courtney and Ezekiel win. Courtney and Ezekiel make it to the finals. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you watch this video again, it helps out the channel so much. You don't even know. Because the viewer percentage is the more it goes up, the more this video comes out to other people. And that equals more videos. More videos equals more content. You guys want content. And that equals more views. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, turn the notification bell on, because there's going to be some awesome videos coming out. And I'll see you guys next time.